Welcome everybody to the Friday night Pick'em NFL Pick'em show on the Running Through the Jungle YouTube channel. You can also catch us on all your podcast platforms. Welcome to the show. Like I said, welcome Justin, Lacey, one of your hosts, and then me, Tim Lyons. We're both from Running Through the Jungle. Yeah, we're on a Running Through the Jungle Bengals podcast, but we're going to talk about is the full NFL schedule for this week, like we have been for the last couple weeks. We're doing okay. We're doing all right. I got a little I got a little catch up on Justin last week. So Justin right now is 48-22, and I'm 46-24. I'm catching up with you, Justin.
Yeah, you
Let's
are. You are.
yeah.
Look, last week was a bad week. Though. I I cannot I cannot stress how bad of a pick'em job that I did last week. And I was texting you this as it
Uh-huh.
was near in the back end of the fourth quarter of
Mm-hmm.
the 1 o'clock slate of games. Well, 10 a.m. slate of games for you, but 1 o'clock here on Eastern time. And it was late in the fourth quarter with all these 1 o'clock games. And I'm like, am I seriously about to go 0-7 on these 1 o'clock pick'ems? It was crazy. Now, there was a few comeback efforts that kind of helped me rescue the ship a little bit. But man, it was just some surprises, man. I got to point this out, man, because I just knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. The Panthers.
Oh
This is why I did not want to pick them to win
no.
like I did last week. I did it because I was trying to ride the momentum. I just
Mm-hmm.
had a feeling that that was going to be the week that the Saints were going to win that game, and that the Panthers were going to just have that trap moment against another division opponent. So, other ones, I did not see the Dolphins losing it. I mean, beating the Bills the way that they did. We just made the far cry assumption that the Dolphins,
Yeah.
they're in rebuild mode. They just sell off some parts, and yeah, the
We
Bills
were wrong.
are. Oh man, I don't. That was one of the surprise upsets that we did not see coming, and that
Yeah.
dominating fashion too. They didn't just win that game; they whooped they ass, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like they whooped they ass for real. So that
Yeah.
was a shocker for me. And then obviously a toss up was the Jets versus the Browns. I know you and
Mm-hmm.
I were split decision on that, and
Yeah.
you went with the Jets and I went with the Browns. And you know what? It was a good game, but it was one of those games where it's like, okay, I see why now the Browns are where they are now. And I'm still not high
Yeah.
on the Jets. And we'll talk about the Thursday night game that just happened between the Jets and Patriots. And then one more
Mm-hmm.
last one from the recap of last week's pick'em spread. Ravens do it again. Now they
Yeah.
beat the Vikings, but it was one of those games, Tim, that I just never thought that it was going to just turn into an ugly fest. JJ McCarthy, I don't know what the hell he is. He's going by 9. First of all, you are not Joe Burrow. Don't be talking about you have an alter ego. And then he's throwing picks like crazy, muff punts galore. That game was a lot closer than what the score indicated. And I still feel like that without a lot of those turnovers, the Vikings could have really pulled off that win last
Mm-hmm.
week. But they didn't. Kudos to Baltimore. That's now 3 straight games or 4 straight games. I don't know how many wins in a row they got, but they
Yeah.
won 3 in a row or whatever. And they're playing good football. So, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, man, it was a rough showing last week for me. Doing these pick'em
I
spreads, man.
like I told you, like you texted me while we were watching some of the early games getting into the fourth quarter, and Justin was like, "Man, you might catch up with us." I'm just crawling back, man. I'm just crawling
Yeah,
back slowly, and I did. I made a little bit of a comeback. He still got a lead on me, but I had an okay record this week. But anyways, welcome Austin Art and Afton. Welcome to the show, guys. We appreciate you guys' support as always. So Justin, you know what? Let's go ahead and just get into it.
yeah, for
Um,
sure. Let's do.
let's see here. Where's my let's bring Bleacher Report. We use Bleacher Report for our NFL Pick'em show. It gives us the points. It gives us everything that we needed to know. Justin, last night you kind of alluded to this whole Jets and Patriots game. We both picked the Patriots on Wednesday
Hmm.
night to beat the Jets. Patriots are just playing some great football.
They are,
It's
man.
just like it. And you know what the thing is like you stated, and I want to bring this up because I think you're 100% right on this. The Patriots, they're not a team to be scared of, and that was really proven, to be the fact last night as well. Because you know I was expecting maybe, the Patriots win, by maybe 3 touchdowns or more. I don't know, but they, it was a close game. It was 21, it was 14-7, and then 21-14, and then, they finally scored again, or it was a field goal, whatever the hell it was. They kind of took the lead, and but the Jets were doing what the Jets did. It's embarrassing to be a Bengals fan and watching this Jets team just get their ass kicked on a daily basis. Um, but Justin, I know you like I said, you stated on Twitter that the Patriots team's not a team, is not a team that you're afraid of, and I agree with you 100%. Justin, go ahead and get into that and get into your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, no, you know what? The story more of the day was obviously the Jets just are horrific on offense. How the Bengals allowed them to put a 500 total yards on them a few weeks ago
Hmm.
is beyond me. I will never understand it. It was one of those weird dichotomy moments to where, like, okay, I guess this is going to happen. But the Jets can't throw the ball downfield. They have absolutely no receivers. Garrett Wilson, he's out.
Right.
And it just feels like that the offense is so much predicated on Brees Hall running the ball. And I think that Brees Hall ran the ball pretty well. But also, too, I think that Justin Fields, those read option runs, that's basically their offense. Their defense is also bad. But
Hmm.
when it comes to them playing in a divisional foe like the New England Patriots, they tend to get up more for that game. This game was in Foxborough. I was thinking that, you know what, just like what you said, Patriots are going to just dog walk them. But the Jets got the ball to start the game off, and they went right down the field. Albeit took a while for them to. They basically chew up a whole big chunk of the first quarter clock, but they got the touchdown. And then the Patriots, they went down the field and got 3 straight touchdown drives as well after that too. I think there was a 3 and out that was mixed up in there. But to basically bring in what you just to discuss a little bit more about what you just brought up about my Twitter post. I want to preface by saying this first. I do respect the 8 game winning streak that the New England Patriots are on. That is so
Right.
hard to do in the NFL. This is not like we're talking about the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick led New England Patriots here. Okay. It's Drake freaking May. All right. Second
Mhm.
year starter. He's doing pretty good right now, but it ain't like that they got number 12 walking out of the tunnel, leading them to these 8 winning game streaks. I also think that Mike Vrabel has done one hell of a job coaching this team so far. He was always the right guy for the job. It was never
Yeah.
supposed to be Gerard Mayo, and I'm glad that they recognized that error and that mishap early on and just got him up out of there. And then they really are taking the accountability on the overall team aspect of things. And you got to tip your cap to what Mike Vrabel was able to do. I got him as a shoe-in to win the Coach of the Year, even though you can go a litany of ways with that. But he's one of those CEO caliber type of head coaches that I would like to see the Bengals eventually have either A, Zach Taylor evolve to that point, or get somebody that can be that. And but I did mention that I'm not really fearful of this New England Patriots team.
Right.
It felt like that, yeah, Drake May is talented, but a lot of it was more so about how bad and how undisciplined the Jets were.
Yeah.
Simply put enough, the Jets, they got some stops here and there, but they just needed to play sound fundamental defense, and they would have been able to neutralize the Patriots better than what they showed. And then
Hmm.
on the Jets' offensive side of the ball, if there was a
Awful.
competent offense that was going against the New England Patriots defense, and this is a defense that has Milton Williams in the middle, this is a defense that has a lot of good pieces, but they're not great. They're not true household names yet. Again, Milton Williams is kind of one right now. I really like Christian Gonzalez, their corner, but
Yeah.
it's not a defense that I feel like that the Bengals can't throw on. It's not a defense that I feel like that I need to like, oh man, they got this guy, they got this. No, no, they don't. It's just a bunch of guys that knows how to properly do their assignments and then play good football. But even the game against the Jets last night, man, they allowed some busted coverages here and there. And I just felt like that going against a better offense, like the Bengals do have one, and like other
Hmm.
teams that have one, yeah, they're going to be in a hell of a time. Like, don't get me wrong, they got to win against the Buccaneers last week, and that was another game that I didn't get right.
Right.
But at the end of the day, man, I'm really impressed with what they've done because winning in this league is very hard. And this was a team that 2 straight years in a row prior to this, they had a 4-13 record. So now they're the number 1 seed, and they're the betting favorite to keep the number 1 seed in the AFC. In the AFC that features the Buffalo Bills in their own division, the Kansas City Chiefs, now the Baltimore Ravens. There's so many challengers now that's coming out of the AFC now, and the Patriots are sitting right on top. Man, I got to tip my
Yep.
cap to them. But it's not a team right now that I fear the most. But you know what? This is part of that midseason sort of let's see what you're made of post the bye week. Can
Mhm.
you just manage to survive until you get to the playoffs? And I really also like the resurgence of Stephon Diggs, who's been discarded out of Buffalo. He's found some
Right.
new life with his Patriots team. I can go on and on, but I'm going to kind of leave it there because we got plenty of other games to talk about. But
Yeah.
that's kind of like my overall abundantly take in a nutshell regarding this team here in this game.
Yeah, and rookie, and Austin Art mentioned Trevion Henderson, rookie out of Ohio State. He had a 3
Oh,
touchdown game last night.
that
He
was a
playing,
dog.
yeah, he played great football. Got the trifecta last night. So it was good football. Um,
Yeah. It really
so let's,
made you appreciate the running the damn ball avenue that you like to quote a lot
yeah,
of times
damn
on Run
right.
Through the Jungle. Yeah, man.
Hmm.
Travion Henderson, man, and even Brees Hall. Those are
Yeah.
two of my favorite backs to watch in the NFL. They really are. And
Hmm.
man, if I'm the Bengals, bro, yeah, that's the guy that I am going to keep my eye on. Sure, the
Exactly.
passing attack is one thing, but man, you got to be able to stop that dude. Okay, the
Hmm.
number 32. He's going to be tough.
Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. So we're going into Madrid, Spain. The
Mm.
Commanders versus the Dolphins. Commanders are 3-7. The Dolphins are 3-7. Over under is 47.5, 2.5 point spread. Justin, I want to pick the Commanders, but I kind of want to pick the
I,
Dolphins.
I
I'm
don't
like,
know, man.
it's like, with the situation that's going on in Washington and then the situation that's going on in Miami, it's like
Mhm.
they're battling out to see, I guess. Well, I won't say whose coach gets fired, but we already know McDaniels is one of the ones that has been on the hot seat for a while now, but they keep saying that they're not going to fire him. But then they've been winning games against the Bills. The Commanders had just been losing. I can't even remember the last Commanders win, to be honest with you. And it's in Madrid, Spain this weekend at 9:30 in the morning. I'll be drinking my coffee and watching that game. I'm gonna go with the Commanders. I'm going with the Commanders. I think Marcus Mariota pulls off a W against the Dolphins. I don't know, but then I'm like, you know what though? Hold on a second. Wait a minute. Can I change my mind?
I mean, look, the
I haven't
show ain't
said it
ended
is.
yet.
I haven't said so. Okay. A Chain's been running the football really damn well too for the Dolphins. You know what? I'm going to pick the Dolphins. Screw it. I'm going with the Dolphins beating the Commanders in Madrid, Spain. Justin, who you going with, buddy?
Bro, I really don't know. I was just going to make it interesting because if you were going to go with the commies, I was just going to say, you know what? Just to make it interesting, because I don't like either one of these teams right now. This year has
Mm-hmm.
just been a disaster for both squads. I was just going to go with the other side of the coin just to be interesting to see who's going to get the win of this one. But I
Right.
do need to get some football taking analysis just a tad bit here. I know the Dolphins made a miraculous statement against the Bills last week. The only problem is I'm not buying into it moving forward.
You're right.
I also understand that the Commanders do not have Jayden Daniels, but we've mentioned many times already that Jayden Daniels haven't been playing up to snuff of being a second-year quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's any backup quarterback that can actually look to get the job done, so to speak, I think it's Marcus Mariota with his dual threat capabilities as well, too.
I don't
Both of
know.
them are
I
not
don't
going to
know,
have any
bro.
home field. Look, both of them are not going to have any home field advantage. Did that mean I
Yeah.
want to trust Marcus Mariota in this spot? Probably not, but it ain't like Tua been any great either. So I'm like,
Right.
okay, if there is a team that I am going to put some chips on to at least get this ugly whatever win is going to be, I guess I'll go with the Dolphins in this one too, even though it's not going to make me feel good about it at all. These are one of those. This is one of those situations. Look, it's two teams with bad records that one
Mm-hmm.
team was selling off parts. The other team kind of pushed their chips to go all in the offseason, and that's the
Right.
Commanders. And they haven't had the season of success that they hoped to. So I'm just gonna keep it simple. Go with the Dolphins too. So you and I are
All
going to
right.
be on lockstep when it comes to this one.
Whew.
It's tough though. It's
I
tough.
guess I guess we'll see what our record is next week.
Yeah,
Next
for
up,
sure.
the Bears 6-3, the Vikings 4-5. It's a 1 p.m. game. Over under is 48.5. 3-point spread. Justin, you go ahead and take this one. I think I already know who I'm going to
Hmm.
take.
Hmm.
But you go ahead, since I picked the last one. You go ahead and pick the Bears versus the Vikings. Who you got?
Yeah. Okay. So division opponent. These two teams know each other very well. Second year quarterbacks. Although J. McCarthy is actually making his first year career start this year. First year
Mhm,
starter because he was injured last year. Caleb Williams has been fine. They've had some nice come from behind wins after being down some going in the fourth quarter. So I like their chances in this game. But I think that comes to an end here. I do not trust in JJ McCarthy right now, and I don't care about that alter ego or whatever that he calls himself nine. As I mentioned already before, you're not Joe Burrow, dog. Okay, so you just need to play better football in the first three quarters and stop trying to lean on the fourth quarter for you to find that nucleus and that magic.
mhm,
And I still like the Vikings in this game just because I think that their defense have enough answers to anything that potentially Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams would like to do. Caleb Williams is still not great in the pocket, and if there's a team that can generate pressure like crazy, it's this Vikings team. I'm not sure what the injuries are going to look like with Jonathan Gennard and others that might be injured there, but they can send waves of pass rush all over the place, and I kind of like them here in this spot. They're at home. They need to get that bad taste out of their mouth from losing to the Baltimore Ravens, which it was a winnable game for them last week.
mhm.
So that's who I'm going to go with. I don't know if it's going to be a close game, like a 3-point game, like the spread pick 'em here line here says. I'm actually
Right.
going to go with them to win by a touchdown in this one. So yeah, give me the
Mm.
Vikes.
All right. Well, I'm not going to go with the Vikings. When I pick the Vikings, they lose, and I'm picking the Bears
Yeah.
this week. I'm not, man. I've been picking the Bears, and they seem to be pulling it off. I don't like Caleb Williams. I don't like the way he plays football. His pocket presence is non-existent. He has to run everywhere he goes because he's just, I don't know. He's got those happy feet. But they have they have a decent team. I'm not saying that because they beat the Bengals. I'm not just saying that. They were at one point leading the league with interceptions as well. The defense seemed to be doing fairly well. And it just seems like last week when they came back and they won that game, it was kind of like it was a shocker to me that they actually came back and beat the Giants. Um, but I'm taking the Bears over the Vikings this week. I just don't have any faith in JJ McCarthy. I don't know. He's just, when he was up at
Mm.
Michigan, when he was up at Michigan, they were running the ball, 40 times during the games, and then he got injured last year, didn't get to play, and this is his sophomore year, we'll say. But I just I don't see him as a starting NFL quarterback, just the way that I've seen him play this year so far. Go ahead, Justin.
Uh, Yeah, I'm going to bring up a nice little comparison that I think JJ McCarthy can probably get as he sorts to unfolds his young career. Now, I'm not ready to write the storybook on him out right now because he's still a young player in this league. This is technically his first real season playing football. He didn't even
Mhm.
play a down in his rookie year because he was hurt. So I am
Right.
giving him a little bit of grace for now. But he's like the inverted version of what we always saw from Tony Romo during the early stages of his career with the Dallas
Yeah.
Cowboys. Tony Romo, if those fans remember, he was a guy that would be productive for the first three quarters and then somewhat even moderately during the fourth quarter. But then there was always that moment in the fourth quarter when things get tight, he would throw a game choking interception or whatnot. And that's
Yeah.
where a lot of those fans remember him. He was a choke artist in that regard. I always liked Romo. But I also think that early Romo really got an unfair outing because of that. And I was thinking because he played for the Cowboys. But he also had some clutch moments in his career too, Tony
He
Romo. He
did.
just never gets any credit for it. But I think that the inverse effect is happening, I think, with JJ McCarthy. This dude is god awful in the first three quarters, but somehow, some way, he finds that elixir in the fourth quarter and they started making in the game. And it was almost turning into being like that for the Ravens, but he just never found that elixir. Like it was more the
Right.
team around him that kind of rejuvenated that. But I'm
Yeah.
with you. I don't really trust JJ McCarthy in this spot either. But it's one of those where it's like this could be one of those weird division games that the Bears, okay, eventually the run is going to come to an end. They're going to slip up somewhere. It could
Hmm.
be here, so it's nice.
Yeah.
But I like it. We're on two sides of the fence here to kind of get a nice little early wave going here.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm taking the Bears. You're taking the Vikings. Let's see if I'm going to catch up with you again, or if I'm going to be taking a step back. All right. Next up, the Bengals versus the Steelers. Bengals are 3-6. Steelers are 5-4. 48.5 over under a 5.5 point game. I could tell you guys, why don't you go watch Running Through the Jungle on our Wednesday show, but I'm not gonna do that to you guys because not everybody's here for the Cincinnati Bengals. They're here for the NFL. So Justin,
Mhm,
I already know who you picked, and I already know who I picked. But for the
mhm.
fans here, who are you picking, the Bengals or the Steelers?
My early indication told me that I think this is where the
Both.
Steelers get their get back in this one, but I'm going
Mhm,
to pick the Bengals to capitalize on the sweep here, and it's not because I'm a Bengals fan at all. I just think
mhm,
that the matchup opportunity for the Bengals offense against the Steelers defense can continue on for another week, even though this game is at home. The Steelers are
mhm.
tough to play at home, no doubt. I do fully expect the Pittsburgh Steelers defense to give the Bengals offense trouble this time around, being that they're at home. But
Right.
they're not at home in prime time under the lights like it was last year. This is a 1 o'clock game. Now you'll ask Steelers fans, they be like, it don't matter when we play. When you come in, to the Berg, it's going to be a battle. Yes, I get that, and I
Mhm.
respect that. It is going to be a battle, but also Joe Flacco is very much familiar with going against Pittsburgh in Heinz Field / Acrisure Stadium, whatever.
Yep.
He knows how to play the Steelers. Just the main question is, man, can the Bengals defense do something? Can they do something? They're going to be without two of their pass rushers and Trey Henderson and now Shamar Stewart, which we talked ad nauseum on the Run Through the Jungle show that we don't care right now about that.
Right.
But we do care about Trey Henderson because that was our sack leader from last year.
Right.
And the defense haven't responded with nothing when he's not on the field at all, period. So that is the main worry there, to where a lot of reasons why people pick the Steelers to win. But I think something's going to tell me the Bengals are going to cautiously get a win here. I'm saying it very cautiously. I think they get a close win here.
All right. All right. Well, I'm not gonna stray from what I said on Wednesday's show. I'm picking the Steelers over the Bengals. We are coming into Pittsburgh. Like you said before, they're pretty low scoring games when we do go to Pittsburgh and play. The defense seems to step up a little bit more. But I'm picking the Steelers this week over the Bengals. I know I picked the Steelers over the Bengals on Thursday Night Football, but like I said before, I forgot it was Thursday Night Football, and the Steelers travel like shit. So I should have just picked the Bengals. But this week, I'm picking the Steelers over the Bengals. Next up, Justin, we are going to the Buccaneers 6-3, Bills 6-3. Over under is
Woo.
46.5, 5.5 point game. Justin, who you going with, Bills or the Bucks?
This is going to be a fun game. Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen. I'm going to go with the Bills because they got to win this game. If they want to
Mm-hmm.
keep pace with the Patriots in the AFC East, they got to win this game. Now they're at home, so they got an advantage. That Orchard Park crowd in New York is going to be very loud. But I also think that Baker Mayfield has that Bucks team playing like with their hair on fire too. And I think we probably might be in for a shootout in this game.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with the Bills to seal the deal in the end here. It might be a close game. It might be one of those games where it's a track meet early on, and then the Bills just kind of pull away a little bit. Um, but I could also see the Buccaneers winning this game too. So
Mm-hmm.
I can see both. I can truly see both paths of victory for either team here. But I'm going to trust in my gut here and go with the Buffalo Bills. I think the defense is going to respond better this time around. They've been getting a lot of heat thrown at them because of what happened against the Dolphins, a team that
Mm-hmm.
they always handle like it's nothing. And we have seen the Bills defense respond when their backs against the wall. We already know what Josh Allen is, but we also know that James Cook has really become the nucleus of that offense. He's running the ball like crazy. And if it wasn't for Jonathan Taylor having the kind of season that he is, I think you can make a strong case for James Cook to be a front runner or in the conversation for offensive player of the year as well too. But it's going to be tough because Josh Allen's the quarterback there. But yeah, give me the Bills. I like both teams, but give me the Bills.
Yeah, I like both teams as well, but I actually have faith in none of the teams because the Bills should be winning games, the Buccaneers should be winning games, but the Buccaneers have injuries as well. At the very beginning of the season, we were all saying Baker Mayfield, was having an MVP season. Now they're losing games. They have no Chris Godwin. Bucky Irvin's out with a foot injury. Hassan Reddick, he's a little bit long in the tooth, but he's out versus the Bills as well. Their defense has not been looking good. Like I said, they have injuries. I think Antonio Winfield Jr. I know he was having foot injury or issues. So I don't know if he's going to be playing or not. I want to take the Buccaneers because the Bills I can't bet on the Bills, but then I want to bet on the Bills over the Bucks because the Bucks I can't bet on the Bucks plus their injuries. I'm like
Yeah, it's
at
a
a
tough one.
conundrum. It is. It's very hard. But I think I'm going to go with the Bills this week. It's at home. Like I said, the Buccaneers have experienced some injuries on both sides of the football. I think the Bills. This is kind of I won't say a get right game for them, but it's going to be a win for them to,
It's gonna feel
kind
like
of
that. It
yeah,
could feel like that. Yeah.
yeah, it could feel like that. But like I said, I have no faith in both of the teams. Like if I could bypass this team, this game, I would just say, you know what, next. I'm not even messing with this game. But since I have to, I'm picking the Bills.
If and I know we're not a betting channel because you can actually tune into Pay
Pay
Dirt
dirt.
with our boy
Right.
B Dirt and our guy Pay, who's actually in the comments here. I just actually brought up
Yes.
his comment here. Good to have you in the chat, Pay. Um, if you want to do some gambling advice, but as a betting man, I'm staying away from this game too, just because I just don't know when I'm going to
Mhm.
ultimately get from both teams. I have to stick to the absolutes of what I believe we're going to see on Sunday. And for me, Josh Allen, James Cook, I think that those are the two absolutes on offense. Their
Yeah.
tight end room is kind of gotten better when it came
It,
to as the season progressed. Dalton Kincaid is nice. We already know that.
but
Dawson Knox is
I think Kincaid's been dealing with a hamstring injury though too, and I think he's
okay.
doubtful for this
Okay.
game as well. So, but I'm still, like I said, I'm
Mm-hmm.
still picking the Bills regardless.
Okay. No, I feel you. I feel you. Okay. I didn't know that he was dealing with an injury. So
Yeah,
I
I have him
mean,
on my
age
fantasy
much like
football team.
you said, because at the end of the day, man, like the Buccaneers got a litany of injuries as well, too. So but yeah. Anyways, we're moving on. Next one.
Yeah, let's move on. Next one up is the Chargers versus the Jaguars.
Yeah,
Chargers
yeah.
7-3, Jaguars are 5-4. It's a 3-point spread, 43.5 over under. Chargers are coming into Jacksonville and Duval. Chargers beat that ass last week against the Steelers. I
Mhm.
wish I would have picked them to win, but I didn't.
I didn't
Both
either.
picked the Steelers to win,
Yeah.
and we were wrong. Then we both picked the Jags last week, and we were wrong about that too. Like, this is where I'm going to get to on this one. I think the Chargers are the better team because Jacksonville has no clue what the hell they're doing. They're lost. They don't have a clue what's going on. Sunshine over there, I've never been a fan of him. I'm talking about Trevor Lawrence. If you guys don't know who Sunshine is, I'm talking about Trevor Lawrence. I've never been a fan of him, and I think Justin Herbert's the better quarterback. Um, their run game's been playing fairly well. We've seen what their defense did against the Steelers last week. I'm going to go with the Chargers. Justin, who you picking, the Chargers or the Jags?
I'm going to go with the Chargers too. I'm going to keep it simple and obvious here. The Chargers are the overall better team, better defense, and I think that they have found something with their tight end with the I can't even remember the guy's name. But he's been coming on really strong this year as a rookie, and I really like what I've seen from Aronde Gatson, I believe that's his name.
Guessing, yeah,
Yeah, and the Jags, now you got their top pick in the draft. He's out for the. You seem like he's going to be out for the year, in my opinion, even though I know that he's going to be on IR. But Travis
Right.
Hunter, he's not going to play in this game. I can't really trust Brian Thomas Jr. Anyway. So he
Mhm.
was a guy that bought some stock in, but he's kind of taking the back seat, drop passes, all that good stuff. It's just not really good. It's not good everywhere around this Jags offense. They can be fast and they can be a scrappy team in certain retrospects, but not enough for me to bet them on this game, even though I know that they're at home. This is going to be crazy because I think this is the first time that these two teams, these two quarterbacks more specifically, are meeting up since the crazy wild matchup in the wild card round about 2 or 3 years ago
Oh, yeah, that
when
was
Trevor
crazy.
Lawrence, yeah, he came back from being down 27-7 and came back and won that game. That was crazy. That was insane. And I think this is the first time that both Herbert and Lawrence is going to meet on the field together at the same time here. So, I mean, I guess don't get your popcorn ready. Don't get your popcorn. I don't really know what to say other than if I need to bet stock on the team, I'm going to put it on the Chargers, even though I don't really like saying it because I've been very critical of the Chargers and them potentially folding down the stretch.
Mhm.
Them beating the Steelers to me didn't really tell me much other than they just got a better defense and that the Steelers
Right.
offense stinks. But it wasn't like that. Justin Herbert and Chargers were out there slinging the rock like crazy neither. He got
Mhm.
sacked like 5 times by the Steelers defense. So
Yep.
the Jags, they can generate pass rush too. I still like what I see from Joshua Hines Allen. I still like what I see from a litany of their guys on the defensive line. So this is not a walk in the park for the Chargers, but this
Right.
is the team I'm going to bet on to win in this game. And that's so I'm with you, man. I'm just going to stick with the Chargers here.
Yeah, I just I just have better faith in the Chargers than I do the Jags. The Jags right now.
Mhm.
Next up is what time we at? Oh, you know what? Let's take a quick commercial break. Sorry, everybody. I just
Let's
realized
do
what
it.
time
Yeah.
it was. Let me
Yeah. We
take a
getting
quick
carried away.
commercial. Yeah, we're getting carried away. Let's take a quick commercial break, then we'll get back in to the Packers and the Giants. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Friday night NFL Pick'em Show on Running Through the Jungle YouTube channel. Like I said, you guys can catch us on YouTube on Wednesdays on our regular show. We also do a Roaring Reaction show after the games. And then, of course, come join Justin and I on our NFL Pick'em Show here. We're talking about the whole entire league, not just the Cincinnati Bengals. You can catch us on all your podcast platforms. Next up is the Packers and the Giants. Since I did the last one first, I'm gonna let you do this one first, Justin. Who are you taking, the Packers or the Giants? Oops, wait a minute. Packers and Giants. It's a 7-point spread, 42.5 over under. Packers are 5-3-1. The Giants are 2-8. Who you taking, Justin? Can't
I
hear
got my
you.
mic muted. All right, I'm
There you
coming.
go.
I'm going to obviously take the Packers here just because right now I don't know exactly what I'm going to get from this Packers. This Giants team, just because we already talked about this Cam Scatterblue injury, the Malik Neighbors injury. I still believe in this team's overall ability to be competitive, and they just fired Brian Daboll. Usually, they give a lot of nucleus and a jump and some voltage towards a team when you have an interim head coach that want to play hard for them. Because typically in
Mhm.
that spot, the players want to be able to see that interim coach get another job in the future. So I think that the Giants can make it competitive. But I think my question is, what I have is, what are we getting from this Packers team? This was supposed to
Right.
be the Super Bowl team, I, and their 3 losses came against teams where it's like, how did you lose these games? Like,
Mhm.
what is this? And their wins haven't been dominatingly convincing enough for me to make me fully believe that this is a Super Bowl caliber team. Now, that being said, I still feel like that they will be one of the teams to represent that could represent the NFC when it's all said and done. But when I think about the NFC as a whole, as far as the powerhouse, I got the Eagles above them. I got the Lions above them. I got the
Mhm.
Seahawks above them. This maybe the Buccaneers. I don't know. The Packers really are a weird team that I just don't know when I'm going to get any more week to week, and I thought I did. But
Right.
in this spot, I think it's still obvious, though. You want to still pick the Green Bay Packers in this situation, even though I know they're on the road here. Two historic franchises going at it. I don't know if I'm going to trust Jackson Dart without Cam Scatterboo. I like I like what he's done so far this year in this rookie campaign. But I
Right.
don't know if he's good enough to overcome that Packers defense, because I still like the Packers defense overall as a whole. And that's not even needing to mention Micah Parsons. Their secondary is still one of the better secondaries in the league, in my opinion.
So you're taking the Packers. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. I thought that was obvious. I thought I said that. I said I was taking the Packers to start. Then I went on
I'm,
this rant with
I'm
them.
sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry I spaced out there for a minute. It's been a long
Yeah,
week.
he's spacing out,
Long
man.
damn
Yeah.
week. My
We
my
trying to hurry
bad.
up and get these picks in.
So I have no they brought in Micah Parsons to the Packers and they started off really well. They really did. And then lately they've been losing football games. And I'm not blaming it all on just the defense, but I figured that defense would have been a little bit, it would be a stellar defense throughout the season, and it's kind of like, sorry, you Pittsburgh, you know what? I'm not even sorry, but it's kind of like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Their defense started off hot at the beginning of the year and then just kind of shit the bed for the rest of the season. That's what I'm kind of seeing with the Packers right now. They started off hot and then they're kind of losing games that they shouldn't be losing. And I'm not just blaming it on all on the defense, but defensive, you have to have a defense to win championships. And as of right now, I don't have faith in that Packers defense. But they're going against the New York Giants. The New York Giants almost beat the Bears last week. They should have beat the Bears last week, but they shit the bed on that, and the Bears won. So I'm going to go with you, Justin. I'm going to go the same way. I'm picking the Packers as well to win this game. The Packers are the better team. You have Jackson Dart, who's a rookie, but I'm still going to pick the Packers to win. Next
Cool.
up, what's that?
Oh, I was saying, cool, good stuff.
All right. Next up, the Panthers versus the Falcons. 5-5 Panthers, 3-6 Falcons. 41.5 over under 3.5 point game spread. Excuse me. I don't know who the hell to pick for this game because last week we picked the Panthers to win, and the Panthers lose against the Saints. Like, what the hell happened there? I don't understand what happened. But again, that's the Panthers team that we were expecting all this season to lose
Yep.
football games, and they lost against the Saints. And and I'm not gonna rag on them too much because just like the Cincinnati Bengals did, we were supposed to beat the Jets and we lost, and here we go. So the Panthers are 5-5. Falcons have not been playing good football these last couple of weeks. I don't care what anybody says. I have Bijan Robinson on my fantasy football team. He's not putting up the points. That offense is just not clicking and not, grooving and jiving like I was hoping. I had 1 week that Bijan Robinson had like 28, 30 points, whatever the hell it was for the week. But that's kind of just went away. It's making me lose my fantasy football weeks, and it's really pissing me off. But that being said, I'm going to take, because the Panthers shit the bed last week versus the Saints, I'm picking the Falcons to beat the Panthers. Justin, who you going with?
Now I'm gonna give you a little bit of grace because I think you got to, calm down a little bit on Bijan. I know you're upset. Fantasy owners of Bijan Robinsons are very upset about his production when it comes to fantasy, but that's not on him. They're
I
just
know.
not utilizing him enough. Now, last week when the Falcons played the Colts, we both thought that the Colts were in for a trap game that day, and we still picked the Colts to win.
Yeah.
But we were right that the Falcons were the team that can probably put a trap on them, and they almost did.
Yeah.
Now the Colts still end up escaping with a win, but that game could have easily been won by the Falcons had certain things just not transpired the way that they did. I still do not like Kyle Pitts at tight end. I think that he has not fully come into his own as a true weapon like you thought he was going to come, being drafted number 4 overall, the one pick before Jamar, and
Yeah.
he's never fully developed into that role. But I do like Drake London against any of their corners, even though they have J.C. Horn with the Carolina Panthers. I do still like Drake London, especially in the red zone, because that's where he makes his specialty. I am going to go with the Falcons in this game, and not because I'm going to just say, "Oh, I'm done betting on the Panthers." That's the team
Hmm.
that just has this. I got that. I got this kryptonite against for. It's like it seemed like just like what you said. You pick them one week thinking that they're going to hit a streak, and you lose. You pick against them, then they come up with a win. I don't like pick. I don't like this game. Okay,
Right.
because
Right.
it features the Carolina Panthers, and I just for some reason this year have not gotten it right when it comes to them. So, but I ain't afraid to pick against them in this spot either. I think that I still like what I'm seeing from Michael Penix, and I think
Mhm.
that he has a crazy amount of arm talent, but he just gotta be able to consistently read the field to understand where he's going with the ball. He's still the better option at quarterback than Kirk Cousins.
Right.
But Tyler Algier, that's the guy that you guys got to focus on and pay attention to most, because he's the running back that's getting the bulk of the carries, and this
Hmm.
frustrates fans, fantasy owners, because Bijan Robinson is the much more stylish back, much more polarizing name, and he's
Right.
not getting enough of the carries. They're just not using them enough. I also like what the Falcons do on defense, and we've talked about this ad nauseum. And here's the thing, too, before we get to the next game, it frustrates me that Bengals fans 3 years later still brings up Jesse Bates. Like, see, we should have paid. Bro, shut up and move the hell on, man. Like, seriously, get over yourself. Do I wish Jesse Bates would have stayed in Cincinnati and got another contract extension? Absolutely. But
Hmm.
it's not happen. It didn't happen. But I guarantee you, had Dax Hill panned out at safety, had Cam Taylor Brent became the shutdown corner that we thought he was going to be, guess what? Nobody wouldn't give a damn about the Jesse Bates contract anymore. But
Right.
because fans like to play this woe is me card and the defense stinks, they always make this correlation because, like, oh, ever since Jesse Bates left or ever since DJ, that defense is going to be bad even with those guys. So please shut up with this now. All right. Can we do that, please? That has absolutely no bearing at all what's happening in Cincinnati with this defense now. I still respect Jesse Bates, and I'm just so happy for him. I just want to watch him ball out and play ball. And I like what their young pieces are doing. So that's also why I'm going with the Falcons, is because they got really good young pieces on defense that they are a joy to watch. And I also like some of the young pieces on the Panthers too. But the Falcons are at home. I think that I think they'll get the good win on this one here. And yeah, man, I think that this is going to be one of those sneaky fun games to watch.
All right. Next up, 10. I almost said 10 o'clock. 1 p.m. game. Your guys' time. I live in the future. In the future. Texans 4-5 versus the 1-8 Titans. A 5.5 point game. 37.5 over under. From what I'm understanding, CJ Stroud is not playing again. And I've been going against the Texans pretty much all season long. But in this case versus the Titans, I'm picking the Texans. They're the better team. Davis Mills won last week as well. I'm gonna pick the Titans or the Texans. Excuse me, the Texans over the Titans. Justin, who you going with?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Texans too. I just don't trust the Titans. I just don't like anything that's going on. Now, Tony Blaze's comments, he's talking about the Jesse Bates comment that I made
Mm-hmm.
about, I know it's not going away anytime soon, guys. For those that are watching on YouTube,
Yeah.
it's he stated that I don't think it's going away anytime. I know that's my point. But you got internet
Mm-hmm.
Bengal fans that just want to just keep crying about the things that happened 3 years ago. You,
Yeah.
you still got Bengals fans that cry about Andrew Whitworth, and he's well into his retirement now.
Yeah.
My point is, shut the hell up and move on to those fans. That's what I'm trying to say. Get over yourself. We got new players. We got a new team that we need to root for, and we need to push the envelope to make sure they get better. I'm
Yeah.
just to the point where I'm just tired of it. Like, I really am.
Yeah.
Like, I watch. Sorry, let me get this off my chest before you,
Yeah.
and then
You're
I'll
good.
let you get going too.
All right.
I watch other teams and other freaking good, better, more successful teams. I watch them lose players of Jesse Bates caliber all
Mm-hmm.
the time, and yet you don't hear a peep out of those fans. The Kansas City Chiefs lost Justin Reed during the offseason. He's down in New Orleans now. Justin Reed
Mm-hmm.
was a hell of a safety for the Chiefs these last few years. He didn't get signed to a second contract. Oh, when you don't hear a peep about that, I watched them lose Joe Tooney to the Chicago Bears. You don't hear a
Mm-hmm.
peep about that. I mean, you hear it a little bit, but you don't hear it that much.
They
You
were,
do hear
but they
things
were
about their tackles.
But they were pretty pissed off when they lost to Orlando Brown Jr., though. They were pretty
They were
salty about
because their tackles, but the point, their tackles was so bad that they had to keep chasing after the hamster wheel. Same with
it. Mhm,
Tyreek Hill. You know, and I'm just bringing up the Chiefs as an example, but there's other teams that I've watched lose certain high caliber players, and they've had to replace the production value somewhere else. And these
mhm.
things happen in the NFL. But I'm not going to go long winded on this because that can be a whole episode in a nutshell. This is a pick'em show. For the game that we're talking about with the Texans and the Titans, I'm obviously going to go with the Texans in this game just because the Titans they are just
Garbage.
a horrible team. But again,
Mhm.
I want to preface by saying this is not Cam Moore's fault. This is not a reflection on him. I like
Right.
his talent and I like what I'm seeing from him. He's shown good poise. It's just not a great setup, man. And Brian Callahan did him no favors this year. And now they got an interim coach and they don't know what they're doing. So, with that
Mhm.
being said, man, the Texans, I tried to say it last week too. Davis Mills is a capable quarterback that can come in and play football. He's not Jake Browning, okay? We're just so used to seeing them with CJ Stroud now. But before then, Davis Mills was their starting quarterback before they
He
even got
was.
CJ Stroud. So I'm going with the Texans in this game because once again, I still like that Texans defense. Derek Stingley Jr. is still nice. Will Anderson Jr. still nice. Okay. And they can stop the run. And I don't even know who the Titans' real running back is
And they
anymore
got
because it ain't
Rankins
Derek
too.
Henry.
Rankins played really well last week also.
Oh God, don't even get me started on him.
I know.
Okay.
I saw you on Twitter.
I was,
I saw
yeah,
you on the
yeah.
Twitterverse. Yep.
I'm
But
gonna stay silent with that one because I made a take out there that may not be popular around the Twitterverse, but I don't care. It's my feelings. But anyways,
yeah.
let's move on. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good, bro. All right. Next one up, the 49ers versus the Cardinals. Hold on. What's going on with this stupid thing? Go away. There we go. 49ers versus Cardinals. 49ers are 6-4. Cardinals are 3-6. It's a 3-point spread, 48.5 over under. Justin, I'm gonna roll with the 49ers. I heard on the on Bleacher, I think it was, that put out that Brock Purdy is going to be back this week, going against the Cardinals. You know, the Cardinals with Jacoby Brissett, and then it isn't Marvin Harrison Jr. Isn't he hurt too? I believe he was
I
hurt
haven't
or
really,
had.
I
Oh,
haven't
he
seen
had
the injury report.
appendectomy surgery. That's what it was. He
Oh,
had
I
appendectomy
did see
surgery.
that. I did
Yeah,
see that. Yeah.
so so Jacoby Brissett's going to have nobody to throw the football to. With Brock Purdy back, I'm going to, I'm going to give this one to the 49ers are going into Arizona and winning this game. Justin, who you taking?
I'm gonna give it to the 49ers. I think they're due up for another victory here. They've weathered the storm with a lot of the injuries, and even if it is Mac Jones for another time, um, I think they're a better team than the Cardinals. Even though, again, the Cardinals are one of
Mhm.
those teams that I really like their young pieces. I like
Yeah.
what I've seen from this group. Jacoby Brissett is one of those capable quarterbacks that can come in and then save you for a few games if you need to. Will he win them all? I don't know. That's to be determined. The offenses are not built around him. I do also like the Cardinals' full weaponry compared to what the 49ers have. And that's even during the absence of Marvin Harrison Jr. if he's going to be out. Trey McBride is one of the better tight ends in the league. George Kittle, he's obviously one of the best tight ends of the league. But the problem
Mhm.
is he hasn't been getting the ball much. And I don't
Right.
know what kind of offense Cal Shanahan is going to drum up to be able to give him the ball. But when it comes to the overall weaponry behind this team, I think I like the Cardinals obviously a little bit more. But I
Mhm.
think that the 49ers, they gotta prove a point here that they can still be one of the teams that you can still see into that wild card mode to where they can kind of upset some teams down the road. They lost a tough one to the Rams. The Rams are looking like a Super Bowl caliber team too. But the 49ers, they just got a lot of injuries, right?
Yeah.
They've been weathering the storm for so long and they're probably due up for one. So that's why I'm going with the 49ers. I think that they get one over the Cards here.
All right. And next one up, and I think this one they should have flexed out the Monday night game because Monday night we have the Cowboys and the freaking Raiders. I think the Seahawks versus the Rams game is the week. Is the game of the week. You guys can call me stupid or whatever you want, but you got the 7-2 Seahawks coming into LA versus the Rams 7-2, 48.5 over under, 3-point spread. You got Matt Stafford looking at, he's looking like MVP Matt Stafford. You know what?
Yeah.
I've kind of stopped talking about Baker Mayfield because Matt Stafford is playing some great football. The Seahawks, they've been playing great football as well. Darnold last week he had an interception last week, but they still JSN stepped up. That defense stepped up and played good football. This is a hard one for me to pick right now. The homer in me, because I do live in Seattle and I kind of root for them a little bit. I want to go with the Seahawks, but it's a home game in LA versus the Rams. And the way the Rams have been playing, I think the Rams are going to take the NFC West lead here. I think the Rams actually are going to beat the Seahawks this week. And I know I'm going against the Seahawks, but I think just the Rams are just the better. I feel like they're the better team, even though what's going on. With they have Puka Nacua. The Seahawks have JSN. They have the running back. Is it Williams? Is that who it is? Jamal or Jameson Williams, or I forget what his name is. A running back for the Rams. Their defense is playing well. I'm taking the Rams or the Seahawks. Justin, who are you taking?
You said you're taking the Seahawks or the Rams?
I'm taking the Rams
Okay.
over the Seahawks.
Okay, you said Rams over the Seahawks. Okay, because I heard both names there, and I got to make sure I get that clarified there. This is going to be a phenomenal game. I hope it lives up to the expectation for both of the records that both teams possess right now. It is a coin flip game to where I can go either one. I can make a case for either one, but this is one of those NFC heavyweight fights. Now, I'll give a little bit of grace here. Yes, this should be the time of the year we can start flexing some teams out of different primetime spots and put somebody in. But usually with Monday night games, it's hard to do that because there are already contractual obligations. But the Sunday night games, I mean, looking ahead, that you got the Lions Eagles on the Sunday night game. It's hard to flex that out of this slate too.
Right.
This is good for where it's at right now. West Coast game, 4:00 game, 1 p.m. your time, obviously, but 4:00 game.
Yeah.
You might see Nance and Romo call this game if it's a CBS game, or if not, you're possibly going to see Tom Brady call this game. Oh, it's a Fox game. It looks like it's going to probably be Tom Brady on the call. And I think that those are better windows, in my opinion, than the normal primetime slots. Personally, I think the primetime slots kind of lost its value over the last several years here.
But
I'm also going to go with the Rams.
But give us some good football to watch in prime time, not this Cowboys versus Raiders junk.
Dude, that's because it's the Cowboys and the brand. That's really it. And the Raiders play at their new stadium. They want to be able to nationally televise stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's the network being picky and being money hungry and whatnot. Yeah, I'm with you though. Give me some good football. But in my opinion, the 4:00 window, the Nance and Romo window, the Brady and the Brady window of those 4:00 games, those are the better games, in my opinion. Those are the ones that you'll get a lot more nationally televised coverage just by way of them being appeared on those stations alone. Okay. It's not the F broadcasting crew, it's the A team with those guys. So I'm going to go with the Rams too. I like the Seahawks, man. I would love to go with the Seahawks here, but I think that the Rams are set up to be one of the perfect kryptonites to slow the Rams offense down. I'm sorry, to slow the Seahawks offense down. And that's not because they got some sort of juggernaut lockdown corner or anything like that. I think that they just play super sound fundamental defense, and they have just a good enough pass rush to disrupt Sam Darnold and company. And you already mentioned it with Matt Stafford. He is playing like an MVP quarterback in the NFL. This is I couldn't believe it when I saw the numbers, and I was thinking, oh, it's Matt Stafford. He just, he's just doing the usual, taking what the defense gives him. But no, then I'm actually looking at his numbers real closely in the film. Like, I see why now they're saying out of all these years that he's been in the league, this is the year why they feel like that is his best year to come. And he just won the Super Bowl a few years back.
Yeah.
I get it now. I am buying the Rams hype where I'm seeing right now, but I also bought the Seahawks hype too. But give me the Rams. I don't even care about them being at home because I'm sure the Seahawks fans will travel well in this game, even though it's in LA. But I think that Rams fans really understand that they got another opportunity to see their team represent the NFC in the Super Bowl again. And that'll be a sight to see. So yeah, I think I'm with you, man. Go and give me the Rams.
All right. Next up, 125 or 425 game. Chiefs 5-4, Broncos 8-2, 3.5 point spread, 44.5 over under. Justin, I already know who I'm taking, but I'm gonna let you go first because I went first last time. Who you taking, the Chiefs or the Broncos?
Chiefs.
Amen.
I probably don't think that you were ready for me to say that potentially.
No, I
I
was
get
right there. I'm honestly right there with you because the way the
okay.
Broncos have been playing, the way Bo Nixon
Remember
that
they
offense has been playing. Yeah,
they've been
go ahead.
playing great football. I get that.
Yeah.
But
Mm-mm.
this is the test for them, okay?
Yeah.
Now, the one thing that they do have their advantage is that when they play at home against the Kansas City Chiefs, they play better against Kansas City. Now, typically, when you're the home team in the division, you should prototypically win this game, but that's not always the
Right.
case here. But this is the test for the Broncos. If
Mm-hmm.
they want to make sure that they damn near slam the door shut on any opportunity for the Chiefs to win the AFC West, the Broncos will win this game to make sure that the Chiefs are not just popping their head up in the clouds to
Right.
make sure they can swipe the division away from them. But I just think that a part of me feels like that the Kansas City Chiefs are back. And I know that they had a bye week, this past week, and then they lost to the Bills before the bye. But that's the
Mm-hmm.
annual yearly regular season loss to the Bills, but they beat them in the playoffs. I don't really think much of that. Those two teams know each other well at this point. But the Broncos, I don't know if they are ready to take the jump and compete with the big dogs. Austin R, I do agree with you. They could pull off this one, but I do feel like that the Chiefs bring a different style of play that the Broncos may not be ready for.
Yeah.
I know I'm not trying to disrupt and just say like, oh, I'm not buying any of the Broncos. I do believe in the Broncos team. I love what the hell that Sean Payton's been building. Again, that defense of the Broncos is ferocious. Pass rush
Mm-hmm.
secondary. There's no holes on that defense, not so whatsoever. But I think the Chiefs are still the Chiefs in this one. And I think that this is going to be one of those rude awakening moments to where the Broncos will be like, oh shit, I guess we're not ready yet. Okay.
Yeah.
But I still like them moving forward sometime down the stretch. But I think this is the one that they get slipped up here and get caught with their hands in the cookie jar with
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City, a real big boy team, a team that's with experience. They know what it's like to be ready for the playoffs in this situation. They're fighting, but again, you can slam the door shut on any opportunity for the Chiefs to be able to win the AFC West or even get the division crown for that matter if you win this game, Denver. So you got plenty to play for in this one here.
Yeah. And I'm like I said, I'm picking the Chiefs as well. The Broncos offense just has not been looking good. If Patrick Mahomes is shoving that ball down the field, scoring points, getting them points, I don't care if it's 3 points or 6 points. The Broncos offense just has not been producing. The last couple of weeks have been struggle bus for them. It really has been. They played in Berlin, or I don't remember where the hell, England, somewhere, whatever the hell it was. That game was atrocious. It was only like a 3-point game. And then the week after that, they put up very little points as well. I'm just not that Broncos offense is just not performing well. Bo Nix is not performing well. Cortland Sutton's not performing
Mhm.
well. But the
Yeah.
defense is keeping them, are keeping them winning these games. But I don't think I with the Chiefs coming off that bye week, I just don't think the Broncos can put up enough points against the Chiefs to win this game. So I'm picking the Chiefs.
Yeah, at some point, and I'm glad you brought it up because J.K. Dobbins, he came out in full frustration about the Broncos offense after that Thursday night
Mm-hmm.
ugly game. They won the game, but they treated it like they lost the game because the offense was so bad. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I think that they're just going through a rough slump right now mid-season, and it happens. And I think that
Yeah.
they'll right the ship at some point, but I just don't think this is the week it's going to happen for them. The defense can only carry you for so long before the dam eventually breaks and going against a real offense. I think the
Right.
Chiefs found that rhythm back, Rasheed
Yeah.
Rice coming back. I like their receiving core now again. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a Tyreek Hill or anything like that, but the receiving core has been solid. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next up, Ravens versus the Browns. Ravens are 4-5. Browns are 2-7. 7.5 point spread. 39.5 over under. The Browns like to surprise all of us every once in a while and beat the
Mhm.
Steelers or the Browns or and I'm sorry, not the Browns, or the Ravens. They like to surprise people sometimes. This could be a trap game for the Ravens. It fairly well could be a trap game for the Ravens. The Broncos, or I don't know why I'm saying Broncos, the damn Browns is who we're talking about. The Browns defense could step up and actually stop Lamar Jackson in that offense. As we've been saying for this entire year so far, the Ravens defense is not the Ravens defense of the past years. They are not looking good still. Lamar Jackson, he was dealing with some injuries, and there was an injury report that he was a knee injury or something. I don't know if he's playing or not. I'm assuming so he is because I didn't see that he's out or not. But I just feel like this Browns game is a trap game for the Ravens. But I'm still going to pick the Ravens over the Browns. Ravens are a better team offensively, defensively. They could probably make some stops because that Browns offense is just awful. So I'm picking the Ravens over the Browns. Justin, who you taking?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think the Ravens got another layup here. And typically, like you said earlier, the Browns, when they're at home in the AFC North against their divisional foes, they play better. They typically
Mhm.
sometimes even win too. Pittsburgh is
Yeah.
is case number one for against the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. Pittsburgh don't win games against Cleveland Browns like that very often in their house. The Ravens lost last year when they were overwhelmingly favorites to the Browns going
Yep.
against Jameis Winston and company. But this is not Jameis Winston they're going to be going against. Dylan
No.
Gabriel, rookie Dylan Gabriel, hasn't been looking pretty good all so far. Um, and I like the Browns defense to try to neutralize Lamar Jackson, but I think that it's going to be somewhat similar to the week 2 matchup. The Browns lost that game 41-17 to the Ravens, and that was in Baltimore. But don't let that score fool you. The Browns defense made that game ugly and hard for the Ravens to do anything on offense. But then eventually they ran out of gas, and then the Ravens just kind of like piled up the points. So that's typically that's how they won that game. But if you ask any Ravens fan, they're like, man, I don't want to have to go against that Cleveland Browns defense on a week to week basis. Bengals fans don't even like going against the Browns defense on a week to week basis. But I think the Ravens get a layup here because I just don't think that their Browns defense is good enough to hold. I mean, it's great, don't get me wrong, but I don't think that they're capable enough to hold a team that I feel like number one, the Ravens on defense is going to get a layup going against a bad offense. And the Browns defense at some point is going to let the dam break against the Ravens offense with Lamar
Mhm.
Jackson and Derrick Henry. Zay Flowers, though, I haven't been sold on him this year, even though I know that he's still
Yeah.
a talented guy. He hasn't scored a touchdown, and I don't think since when, week 3? It's been a long time since I've seen that dude in the end zone.
Yeah.
But I still think that the large part of the Ravens offense is muchly predicated on Isaiah Likely, Charlie Kolar, their tight end room in general. Rashad Bateman can sneak up on you every so once in a while and catch big plays. And then you still got the running threat of Lamar Jackson. These are two foes that we know really well in the AFC North because we play them twice a year. Give me the Ravens to complete the season sweep over the Browns. And I think that this is going to be the game that's going to really get the momentum going for the Ravens because all the pundits and stuff were saying that they're going to take the division over. If they win
Mhm.
and then the Steelers lose, they now propel themselves to first place in the AFC North after starting 1-5. So crazy turn of events here for the Ravens.
Yeah. Amen. Next up, the Lions on Sunday Night Football versus the Eagles. Over unders 46.5, 2.5 point spread. Justin, who you taking?
I mean, you know what? Give me the Lions here in this spot. I just do not know what I'm getting from the Eagles offense. At some point, that tush push is going to rear its ugly head, and it has a couple of times this season. But the passing attack of the Eagles has just not been there. AJ Brown, he came out and spoke publicly about like, dude, this offense is basically trash at this point, but they're doing enough to get the wins. But it's
Mhm.
frustrating for him because like he's a premier talented wide receiver in this league. And yeah, he's telling fantasy owners that if you got me on your fantasy team, you might as well just drop me at this point. That's
And I
insane,
did.
man.
I dropped his
Like
ass like a bad habit.
that's insane, man. Just because like somebody could pick him up and then next thing you know, he has 2 or 3 scores. But it's all likely possible that he can, face different coverage options with more favorable matchups in this game. But I don't even care about the fact that they're at home. I think that the Lions also have something to prove here with they had to get some things kind of like working full circle with them
Mhm.
and they still want to show that they're a better team this time around than the last time these two teams played each other. And quite frankly, if you ask me, who do I trust as a more of from a cultural perspective or from the coaching standpoint, man, I like Dan Campbell. I like Dan Campbell over Nick Sirianni,
Yeah.
and that's nothing against Nick Sirianni. He won a Super Bowl and everything, but I still like the culture of the Dan Campbell-esque Lions and what he's built. And I think Jared Goff is really, really good at operating that machine on offense, that passing attack with their running back duo that they have with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs.
Hmm.
Amon-Ra St. Brown is just a do-it-all kind of receiver for them that he kind of can exploit a lot of different hole shots that Jared Goff can take. And then it doesn't have to be just crossing patterns across the middle to Jameson Williams like their last game it was. So, but yeah, I like the Lions in this spot, man. I give me them in the big win over the Eagles on Monday night. I'm sorry, Sunday night on the road.
Yeah, I'm just not, I've said this over week after week after week. I'm not sold on that Eagles offense with Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and even Saquon Barkley. The way that offensive coordinator or whoever's calling the offense for that team, they're doing a bang up job. We just watched on uh last week. Was that Monday Night Football, the Packers versus the Eagles?
Yeah.
I don't know. That game was so freaking boring. There was no offense. There was just a bunch of just fumbling, bumbling, stumbling going around. And that being said, I think the Lions have the better offense here. Yeah, I know they have some injuries going on, but I think they can stop that Eagles offense. And Austin, put your damn bias hat back on because you are biased and you picking the Eagles like we always know you're gonna. I ain't picking no Eagles. I'm picking the Detroit Lions to win over the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday Night Football. Justin, next up, the Cowboys versus the Raiders. Uh, let's see here. Cowboys 3-5-1, 3.5 point game or 3.5 point spread. Raiders are 2-7 with the 50.5 over under. Holy shit. For Monday Night Football. Justin, I'm going to pick that both teams end up in a tie because they both are trash. Their defenses are trash. They're just trash. But no, on a serious point, I'm going to actually pick. Man, I have no faith. I have no faith in the Dallas Cowboys defense. I have no
I
faith in
don't either.
Geno. I have no faith in Geno Smith as a quarterback.
I don't either.
Dak
It's the
Prescott's
lesser of
the
two
better.
evils.
Dak Prescott's the better quarterback. He has the wide receivers to throw the ball to. I'm going to pick the Cowboys over the Raiders because the Raiders are just garbage. Geno Smith is garbage. I think Pete Carroll's going to have to, say goodbye in Las Vegas, and they're going to find a new coach next year. I'm happy to see old Pete's back coaching, but I just don't think he made any. Honestly, I don't think he's made any changes in Las Vegas, especially with bringing Geno Smith over. They should have drafted a quarterback or did something. The Raiders is just not a very good team. Like I said, the Cowboys defense is not very good, but I think they're the better team. So I'm picking the Cowboys over the Raiders. Justin, for our last pick, Monday Night Football, who you picking, buddy?
Yeah, the Cowboys got, and they're on the pace of having historically bad defense too, just like how we've been talking about with the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
But I am going to pick the Cowboys to win this game. When it comes to home field advantage for the Raiders, I don't care. Like they can't win the game at home, they can't win the game on the road. You don't trust this team to save your life, and I'm not going to trust them in this spot either. Geno
Right.
Smith, he's a turnover machine. It's either he gets sacked to come trying to extend plays or he's making a turnover. He's doing so many turnover worthy plays to the point where it's like, all right, dude, it's kind of over here. I think that your reign of being a Seattle, first of all, when he kind of showed that career resurgence with the Seahawks, taking over that starting spot after they traded away Russell Wilson. People wrote Geno Smith off, and he had the infamous line, "They wrote me off, but I ain't right back." Since then, it's like, okay, now I think we're done here. All right, I think that at this point, next year moving forward, I think you're just a backup quarterback like you have
Yeah.
been before, or you can just hang it up and call it a career, whatever the case it may be. The Cowboys, on the other hand, and this sucks because like I was buying some stock into them earlier in the year, coming off of the Micah Parsons trade. People were writing them off thinking that they're just going to go into a rebuild, all this and that. And then then Dak Prescott, he just kind of had this emergence for this team, help putting the team on his shoulders. and it just kind of just came flat on his face a little bit here, to where it's like even he can't be that good. He's not good enough to overcome this either. But I do expect them to win this game. Like the Raiders are going to give you opportunities. There are going to be some matchup concerns I do have when it comes to them trying to stop and slow down Ashton Genty and Brock Bowers. I do like that. But I also think that they're still good enough on offense though that even if the Raiders do happen to score a few points, I still believe that the Cowboys offense is ready made to be able to keep not only just keep pace but outscore them in their own field. So and yeah, and we talked about home field advantage. It's not going to matter in this game because the Cowboys are going to have fans that's going to travel really well, and
Right.
possibly you might see a lot of the Cowboys blue colors into that Raider stadium more so than it being a black hole. So, yeah, man, give me the Cowboys. I think that they'll get a good win here. I mean, I don't trust them for the long haul moving forward, but I at least trust them to get this win here at this spot.
Yeah, so that wraps up the NFL Pick'em show. What a great show. Justin and I, we all didn't just pick the same teams. You guys saw us pick some different, opposite teams of each other. Hopefully I can crawl back in there and catch him, with his overall. Yeah, he's got like a 2-game lead on me right now. So maybe I can crawl back a little bit more. But it was a great show, Justin. Thank you so much, for being here as always. Everybody,
Sure.
Thank you guys for watching, listening. Go on YouTube, check us out here on Running Through the Jungle, and also check out Running Through the Jungle on all your podcast platforms. Justin, you got any final thoughts or anything you want to say before we let these few fans go for the weekend?
Nah, man, just enjoy the weekend. If you're watching any football, just be careful with sweating your bets out. Okay. That's pretty much all I got for right now. And I'm not going to be empathizing with you because I ain't betting on any of these games, even though I should, but I'm not going to.
Yeah. And again, thank you guys, everybody, for watching. All I got to say is tomorrow we have the Notre Dame Fighting Irish going into Pittsburgh to play the Pitt Panthers, or Pitt, whatever the hell they're called. And, go Irish. But other than that, enjoy your guys' weekend. Be safe. Thank you guys for watching. Hoo day.